Okay, and here we are at part 2 of the formative review, and let's take a look. So, number 19, find the measure of arc AB. Well, guys, congruent chords have congruent arcs. So since chord AB is congruent to chord ED, that means that arc AB has the same measure as arc ED. Okay? So, well, because this angle right here, the 61, is a central angle, that makes this arc 61 degrees. And since this one's congruent, this one is 61 degrees. So the correct answer here is 61 degrees. Don't forget the degrees. Okay, here we are. Another case. We've got, in this particular case, a chord that has been perpendicular bisected by AC. That means that AC is technically diameter, but that's not relevant to this question. It is good for you to know that, though. If arc AD is 65, then arc AB is 65 degrees. Okay? Okay, next. In number 21, we are told that arc ED is 91. Well, in order to be able to say arc AB is 91, we need to be able to say that chord ED and chord AB are congruent, which we can because they are the same distance away from the center. Remember, a chord is longest when it's closest to the center, and then the further it gets from the center, that chord gets shorter and shorter. So how long a chord is depends on how far it is from the center. And if these two chords are the exact same distance from the center, then they're congruent. So if the chords are congruent, the arcs are congruent. So 91 degrees. Okay, here comes this question. It's a big question, guys. Make sure you know how to do this. So here we are told that QN is congruent to QP. So here's QN right here. It's congruent to QP right here. And they are both 10. So what they're essentially telling us is that this chord JK and this chord ML are the same distance away from the center, which means that they are congruent. So that 4x must equal that 6x minus 24. So let's start there and find x. 4x equals 6x minus 24. And then if I were to subtract the 6x from both sides, I know we usually like to subtract the smaller number over so we don't get a negative, but I also don't like to leave one side of my equation empty. So when this happens, I just go ahead and deal with the negative numbers. 4x minus 6x is negative 2x, and that equals negative 24. Typically, by the end of it, it all works out okay. Divide both sides by negative 2. X equals negative, nope, not negative, x equals, the negatives cancel, let's try that again, and x equals positive 12. Okay, now we got x. What the heck does that mean? If we were to plug x back in, we get that these chords are each 48, okay, because 4 times 12 is 48. And down here, 6 times 12 is 72, and then minus 24 is 48. So these two chords are 48. And then this line coming from the center that is perpendicular must also be cutting it in half. So this must be congruent to that, which means that each piece of these chords, each one of these pieces of the chords are half of 48. So they're 24. Okay, and 24 here, and 24 here. All right, you guys, this right here, I hate it. It's small, it's crowded, and I can no longer see what's going on. So let's go ahead and make a nicer circle and try to really only bring over what we need. And if you remember this question, you know you're going to have to make a right triangle. So here's the center, and the center is Q. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw one of these chords. I don't need them both. And I'm going to connect this over and make that right angle. And then this was what they told me was 10. And then I found out that each of these pieces of this chord were each 24. And the question wanted the radius. So here I'm going to draw my own radius by connecting the center to the edge of the circle to create the hypotenuse of this right triangle. And this is the radius. And then again, my good old pal, the Pythagorean theorem, is going to help me with this. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So C squared, the radius, is the hypotenuse. So R squared equals 10 squared plus 24 squared. That means that R squared is 100 plus 24 squared. Let's see, 25 squared is 625. So this one's 576. Okay. And then we get 100 plus 576 is 676. That does not look like a perfect square anymore. Let's see here. We've probably got to do a factor tree on this guy. Oh no, 676. I checked it. I didn't think it would work out. But 676 actually is a perfect square. It's 26. So we don't have to do a factor tree. We have been saved by the math gods. Okay. R is 26. Okay. All right, guys. I hope that was helpful. If it didn't completely click, if you're not able to do a problem like this completely on your own without getting stuck, rewatch this, okay? And try it again. And make sure you can do it, all right? Okay, I'll catch you guys in part 3.